Hey guys, this is Mrs. Graham. I'm going to do a quick video lesson on the semicolon. And the semicolon has actually been all over the media. I don't know if you have seen this, but if you are on actually on Snapchat or on Facebook or on Instagram, a lot of you will see the symbol of the semicolon. And that movement was actually started by someone named Amy Blewell in 2013 as a symbol of hope for people with depression. And I'm going to kind of reference that as we're talking because the symbol of a semicolon is kind of like a pause, but more than a pause. It's like you're stopping for a minute, but then you keep going. So if you think about people who are depressed or having a hard time, they're stopping, but then they keep going. And so this is a modern reference to what the semicolon means. And so when you see that on the media, you can kind of relate that to what I'm teaching you right now. This little cartoon is dumb, but it makes a lot of sense. It says, "Why are you crying? Nobody understands me." And it's very true. People are really scared of the semicolon. But it's actually not that difficult at all. And I'm going to explain the two main ways that the semicolon is used, and you will understand that really clearly after this lesson. Okay, this is also completely silly. Both bears and semicolons have pause. Okay, so if you imagine a comma being a very brief pause, and then a period would be a complete stop, a semicolon would be a moderate pause, which makes total sense because of fact a semicolon is a period and a comma. It's a mixture of the two, and that is what a semicolon is. The first way that a semicolon is used is between two complete sentences. So you know all the times where we tell you, like if you wrote a simple sentence, I'm going to use the simplest sentence I can think of. I ran, I fell. Well, you know those are two complete sentences. So what you cannot do is you cannot use a comma because that is a run-on sentence. When you have a subject-verb and a subject-verb, these are two strong elements. And so in order, you have to put something in the middle of these, okay? And so you either have to put a period in between them. You cannot put a comma without a conjunction. But one thing that you can do is you can put a semicolon. So a semicolon is perfectly legal to put in between two complete sentences, or you can call a complete sentence an independent clause if you really want to, but you don't have to. So looking at this together, if you'll look at this with me, ice cream is the best food in the world. My favorite ice cream flavor is cookies and cream. It's not true at all. My favorite ice cream is vanilla. Okay, so looking at this, you have two complete sentences. The first sentence is ice cream is the best food in the world. And the second sentence, the subject is my favorite ice cream flavor. It's actually flavor, is. So here you have two subjects and verbs. And there you go. You have the magnificent semicolon separating the two sentences. Now, you might say, well, why didn't you just use a period? Well, the answer is you absolutely could have used a period. That would have been perfectly fine. But sometimes when sentences go together really well, it's almost like they flow into each other. You can use a semicolon. Also notice the first letter of my. When you use a semicolon, the next letter, the next word, does not start with a capital letter. No capital letter. Unless, of course, it's a proper noun like someone's name or the word I or anything like that. Okay? All right. Oh, and by the way, it's kind of a sophisticated punctuation mark. So if you're using it in a paper, an article, something like that, you want to use it sparingly. It's kind of like perfume. You don't want to douse yourself in it. You want a little bit goes a long way. And that's the way you should think about semicolons. Okay, so again, along the same line, okay, here are some examples for you to look at. Our goal was to run 10 miles. We ran only 5. Again, you have two complete sentences separated by a semicolon. And please notice the two sentences go together. The two sentences should flow into each other when you use a semicolon. You can't just randomly put a semicolon. They should flow into each other. So there's an example. The next one, they were noble souls. They not only possess loving hearts, but brave ones. So again, you have a semicolon, you've got two complete sentences, and then notice we is not capitalized, nor is they. So that's the first way that semicolons are used, to separate two complete sentences when the two sentences go together, almost as if they belong together. Okay, here's the second way that semicolons are used. You know, if you've watched the other videos on commas, which I hope you have, because commas, you should master commas before semicolons, you know that commas are used in lists. But what if you have commas within your list? So for example, here's the first item. Let's say you said, I lived in the following places. I lived in New York, New York. I lived in Miami, Florida. I lived in Los Angeles, California. So what you need to notice is within these lists, look, there are commas within each item. So if you didn't use semicolons, it would say New York, comma, New York, comma, Miami, comma, Florida, comma. And imagine that might be confusing to someone. So what you do is when you have a list and within each item there is a comma, then you use a semicolon. So let me just explain that one more time to make sure that you understand that. So this is item number 1 in the list, and in this item there is a comma. And this is the second item, and within this item there is a comma. And this one too. So when you have a list of items, whatever they are, and you have a comma within that item, then you can use a semicolon instead of a comma within that list. Okay. So this is kind of a blurry picture, but I thought it was a good example. Situation, Greasy Spoon Cafe. Don't go for fried breakfasts, sausage, egg, and chips, bacon, egg, and chips, double egg and chips, double chips and chips. What I want you to notice is that whenever you're dividing up food, this has got commas within it. And you've got commas within the list. So whenever you've got commas within the list, go ahead and use semicolons within that list. Okay? And you can ignore this. I actually wanted you just to see this example right here. The committee included Peter Wursthorn, professor of mathematics from Marlborough, Connecticut. And then you would put a, oh, sorry. That's not good. Sorry, you would put a semicolon here, right? I don't know why it's doing that. You would put a semicolon there. Virginia Villa, professor of English from Hartford, Connecticut. I don't know why that's happening. Let's see if this helps. Sorry. Put a semicolon. Paul Creech, director of Rad Tech from Essex. You see, because this is an item here. I'm sorry. There. And then this is a person here. And then the next person on the list is here. So what the semicolon does in a monster list is it just helps keep the items separate when there are commas within it. Okay, that's it. I hope that helps you. Please see one of us if you have any questions about this. Thanks.